Give me your picks, give me your insights. I want the best from Betting Weekly. Because we win, that is our motto. Sometimes we win, sometimes we don't win. Don't give us the burn, don't give us your stink eye. We try our best, and we're successful. Come watch our show, Bet River sponsors. It's time to start, enjoy the show.
Welcome everyone to Betting Weekly Live. Have you got that Friday feeling? You are with Steve Wyss and Jack Wright. It is Friday the 8th of August. It's the start of the Championship. Big game today that we're going to discuss. Birmingham, Ipswich plus Championship futures plus a few other things. Jack, how's your summer been? Are you ready and raring to go for the new English season?
Yeah, greetings, Steve, and everyone who is tuning in. I certainly am. Do you know what? I've had a brilliant summer. Really, really enjoyed it. Obviously, the weather's helped here in the UK. Has been beautiful. So I've been doing lots of fun things, doing a little bit of work, obviously, throughout the course. Got to pay the bills somehow still. But yeah, kind of been delving into it over the last week or two, properly getting back into it. And yeah, we've obviously both recorded our preview shows for our respective shows over the course of the season, haven't we? So for the extra time show for the European leagues, and obviously me, Nigel and Dan on the Premier League show. So that was fun. And we'll recorded those today. So look forward to them coming out. And yeah, the Championship, which I love, obviously, you know, I love the Championship, is back tonight, and it's back with an almighty bang.
Yeah, we recorded Betting Weekly Extra Time as well. Me, James, Dan looked at the four main European leagues, futures and stuff. I think those two episodes will hopefully be released today. I don't know exactly what time. I know producer John is working in the background to get them out and looking good. So, you know, stay tuned for them. Ours was really good as well. Really enjoyed it. So looking forward to that. Welcome into everyone. How did you get on yesterday? I watched the show. Larnaker did him very nicely on the money line. I think he went against Dan Roebuck. Dan, yeah, let Dan down, I think.
Recipe to print money, that. sorry, Dan.
Welcoming Leslie McMinchung, Ian Messina, FGA Football as well, Steve from Lynn, Rick Haley, FGA Football. So he did okay yesterday, but he could have been better. Michael Munch, good to see you. That's a great name. Real Brandon King as well, AZ Flights. Savet over. Yeah, Savet and overs have generally gone quite well in recent years, haven't they? Tristan Wiggle, good to see you. And Loves by Anchor and Dresco. Congrats on the punter who said he took Mboka to win Montreal 200-1. Who was that? 200-1. That's a heck of a prize, isn't it? Boylo Charles. Good to see you. Yeah, he's been tuning in from X. Of course, we are multi-platform these days. Here on YouTube, X as well, Facebook and Twitch. So do come and say hello if you can on those formats. And give them all a follow as well on the socials. And while you're at it, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We really appreciate all your support in that. We're getting closer to 11,000 subscribers.
Are we still on MySpace? Are we still on MySpace, or we come off MySpace now? I can't remember. No?
MySpace. Oh, crikey, that was what, 15 years ago now? That was all
the original ones, wasn't it?
Yeah. Have you been getting involved in the European qualifiers, Jack, or not? Have you been keeping your palate clean for the mainstream leagues?
I've been dipping my toe in. There's the odd one that pops up that I quite like the look of. I'll be brutally honest. I've been fairly inconsistent. I've just come out of it on the right side, but it's been a bit of a two steps forward, one pace back. As I said, I've not been going too mad in it. To be fair, I've enjoyed like having the recharge, because it's been a long couple of seasons. So when we get the chance to do it, no major tournament for men's soccer, obviously, then we I think we take the opportunity, don't we? Like you, get out on a golf course.
Well, yeah, I only had 2 bets yesterday because I was on the golf course myself. But both lost. Hecken ran over, and there was missed penalties and stuff in that. And then I took a goal score for Rosenborg at a big price, to be fair. So that I did 0-0. So,
Yes, and I fancied them to win yesterday. Actually, I saw that was on the shortlist. Didn't quite make the cut, but yeah, there's been a flurry of a lot of red cards and usual stuff.
loads of
I
missed
mean,
penalties
maybe, yeah. What's
board.
going on?
So, yeah, I'm hoping that the qualifiers will treat me better towards the end of the month. But before we move on to today's action, just a reminder: the Betting Weekly inside the Betting Weekly newsletters, I might add, do sign up for these for free if you're new. I'm sure most of you already do anyway. The insiders due out today. Looks really good. Again, another top edition. Some sort of tweaks to the pre-season previews, Jack. I really like some of the stuff. I think you're involved heavily with the Premier League aspect of it. James, me, Nigel, all that sort of thing. But do sign up for free. Cost you nothing if you're not.
Before, Steve, and I'll quickly butt in to say that is a real place to get the value, because obviously we can go a lot more in advance. Obviously, these shows are all about what's happening, where's the movement, etc. A lot of the betting that we're successful in, isn't it, is that you get and identify the value early, get it out there, and then can cash your tickets. So more of that later. But yeah, so that's the place to go for that. And I say a couple of my futures have been nibbled at quite considerably. So get subscribing there to get the value from all the handicappers.
Real Brandon King says, quick thoughts on the latest Man United signing, Sesko. I actually talked briefly about him on the show we recorded today. I'm not that massive on him. There was a period where I thought he was really overrated. Actually, he's not that now, but at one point I'd rather have the rapper Cisco than Sesko. Do you remember him?
I've got the thong to prove it.
Yeah, now you really are rolling back the memories now. But look, Sesko, I'm not being. I mean, what they're talking 80, 90 million here, which I'm not having that.
I mentioned him on our show as well, Steve. Do you know the funny thing is that Man United fans, I saw them a few days before they went into the market, and they were looking at Newcastle spending big bucks on him, and they were going, they've been ripped off. They're spending far too much money. He's not all that. I'm glad we're not in for him. Oh, and now they've gone in and they've obviously captured it and paid, I think, more than they have. And I've got a hunch, and I could well be proven wrong. I could have lots of egg on my face after this one, but I think he could be a Rasmus Højlund version 2.0.
Yeah, it doesn't kind of surprise me that you're a little bit on the same alignment as me. Good player, don't get me wrong. But when I watched him at Leipzig, I've not always been convinced. And they play such a specific system as well. It's not always easy. The same kind of happened when Havertz initially came over from Leverkusen. They played such a specific system over there in Germany. It's not always easy to adapt. But I'm just amazed as this bidding war for him. So, I mean, RB Leipzig are laughing, aren't they? They're very happy.
Absolutely right.
Going up there.
I've got some strong opinions on Manchester United, which make sure that you watch the preview show, and you'll see whether they are very positive ones or not so positive ones.
Real Brennan King says that potentially is a huge bust potential for Sesko in his opinion. Yeah, I know where you're coming from, because when someone, just say he was bought for 90 million, the expectations go through. Anthony, how much was he for Man United?
80 odd.
Exactly.
We've seen it all before, mate. We've seen it all before. And it's not easy to come from any other league to go into the Premier League, because it's just a different pace, intensity, strength. And there's some very, very good defenders. Now, there are good defenders in Bundesliga, of course there are, but you get more than your fair share of patsies that you can go and steamroll and stat pad. And I put up some, Gorkarez is another one that I put up. Both me and Nigel had some pretty strong figures on Gorkarez and what he's done over the last couple of seasons that might not be sort of the saviour that Arsenal possibly were hoping for or are hoping for. But again, this is the beauty, all about opinions, and will be proven correct or incorrect. And I'm sure the haters will come flooding out of the woodwork if we are proved to be wrong. But really exciting, because there's some players there where there's some strong opinions across this new season upcoming. Looking forward to being proven correct or incorrect.
The amount of times I've had people come up to me this summer and said that Gyökeres is going to be a huge failure at Arsenal I've lost count. The amount of, I don't know. Before he came to Arsenal, everyone said they've got to get him. They've got to get him. Now they've got him. He's going to be this massive flop. This is the summer season for you. So many opinions going around. You can't win sometimes.
You only hear the opinion, don't you? You only hear the opinion like when it's kind of the other way around. It's like, oh, they've got to get him. They've got to get him. And then when they get him, and everyone else comes out and said who didn't think they should get him. But I think I haven't got the stat to hand now, but I said it on the show earlier, so I'll kind of break this one. But I think it was 31 of his 39 league goals last season was against sides in the bottom 11 in Portugal. Now, I think he'll score goals in the Premier League, but not necessarily the important and the vital and the crucial goals that they need him, where they're needing a goal against Manchester City or against Liverpool or against Chelsea, those kind of sides. I think he'll be able to get and break down those lower lights in the Premier League. But when the big games come, I think he might fall short. We'll have to wait and see.
Lots of questions coming in on chat. We're going to answer most of them. Bianca Andrescu, what does Jack think of Ipswich winning tonight? We're going to be straight into that game. Jan Philip, Sesko's good with his feet. Ginepi likes Sesko as well. Villa fan, he's looking for a Blues being put in their place tonight. Let's see what happens there. Justin Wiggle, a striker success is a function of how well the team plays. And Philly guy, interesting question about Watford to be relegated. We're going to talk Championship futures. We might as well actually start with the winners' market. We'll talk relegation a bit later. But the winners' market has Ipswich Town as plus 300, Southampton plus 500, Birmingham at 7-1, Sheffield United 8-1, and then you're looking at 12-1 bar in terms of the promotion odds. Ipswich, the clear favourites here, plus 125, Southampton plus 160. Birmingham plus 200 along with Sheffield United. And then you've got the likes of Leicester, Coventry, Middlesbrough and Norwich. And the biggest prices on there are 40-1 on Oxford and 40-1 on Sheffield Wednesday. I think you'd want a bit more than that on Sheffield Wednesday. But look, let's just look at this Championship winners market, Jack. Where would your money be in terms of the outright here? Place terms as well, 1, 2, 3 for a quarter of the odds.
Ipswich, for me, I think they're worthy favourites. We've seen it before. It's the theme where you get promoted from the Championship, you go into the Premier League, and it's a chasm. So the opposite applies. These guys are getting vast sums of money, far more than the majority of these teams have. The parachute payment, as we call it here, and the Premier League give a big chunk of money for 3 seasons to the relegated sides, and it is a massive benefit. Now, Ipswich kind of went about this a slightly different way. They've got a bit of money anyway. Obviously, got promoted. Knew they'd be getting a decent sum over the course of time. And when they got promoted the season before last, they then pretty much cherry picked the best players from the Championship, pretty much on the basis that they are likely to go down. They could have the potential to manage to scramble away to safety. But should they come down, they've effectively got a Championship super team ready to line up and go. Now, they'll lose a couple of those players. They've lost one already in Delap. Liam Delap's obviously gone to Chelsea. He probably was better than expected last season. Amari Hutchinson is another one that might well go. There's a lot of strong interest in him. But the likes of Jack Clark, Sammy Smoditz, you've got several players that are brilliant at Championship level. And they've also managed to keep their head coach in Kieran McKenna. Let's face it, at this time last season, McKenna was being linked with going to Brighton or going to Chelsea. That was the kind of talk, and they've done very well to keep hold of him. So he's still there. There's not really been any talk about him moving on. So they've kept a stable side. There's a large core who got them promoted 2 seasons ago, still there, and they've added to it with some top talent from the Championship. And they've got the ability to make a move in January should they need to. And so I think everything points in that direction. And you couldn't get a more unbiased viewpoint than that, than obviously coming from a Norwich fan.
I mean, I've got the top 2 for me are going to be Ipswich and Southampton. I've actually backed Southampton to win it on the each way terms. I can't myself here, Jack. The manager, Will Still, is one of my favourites, as you know. Everyone knows I love Will Still. But I do think it's quite a coup to get him because, for me, I mean, look, he's managed Lens in France. He's managed Reims in France. I think he could have easily, if he wanted to, just hung around and waited for, say, October, November. And I reckon a Prem team might have gambled on him. So we know why he's over here. Well, one of the reasons he's over here is with his partner, Emma Saunders. And I think it's a really good hire. He's a great technical manager, motivational manager. We know they're going to be in depth in detail. 46 games, that's a little bit of a question mark. He's not used to that. But for me, Southampton under Will still should be a really good unit and a good each way bet. Certainly with the top 3 places. Personally, I've got Birmingham in 3rd. I think they could be a good shout to win the playoffs. Troy, their producer Troy's come up with a great stat. Most tickets to win the championship: Ipswich, Wrexham, Southampton, Leicester. There and 5th is Birmingham. Wrexham kind of doesn't surprise me. We'll talk about them in a minute. But you got Ipswich there winning it. In terms of the actual promotion market, would there be anyone else you would look at in backing in this? Of course, you could finish 6th and still win this bet potentially.
Yes,
which that does help. You've got two bites at the cherry, so to speak. Is anyone overpriced?
Going back to the other slide, I'd play a side each way there, and it would be Leicester, which everyone's been put off Leicester by the fact that you can see there at plus 1,200 to finish top 3, isn't it? So that's not promotion. That's basically to finish in the top 3. And so if they finish 3rd and don't get promoted, you still get paid out on that. So for me, Leicester, everyone's been put off Leicester by the fact they're going to get a points deduction somewhere in the region of 9. Depends how strong their lawyers are. They might get a 6 if they completely mess it up. It'll be 12. So call 9 a fair average on that. Now, obviously, 2 seasons ago they won this division by getting 97 points. So if they go on a similar path to that, you take 9 off that. That's gonna put them well in contention. 3rd place that time was Leeds on 90. 4th was Southampton on 87. So that would have just seen them clear in that with a 9-point deduction. And you look back to last season in the Championship, what happened last season with Leeds winning it, with 100 points, Burnley 2nd with 100 points, and then Sheffield United 3rd with 90 points. But 4th place was Sunderland with 76 points. So that gives you an indication that if you can hit anywhere around 80 points, 80 to 85 points, you've got a very, very strong chance of being in the top 3, probably guaranteed to be in the top 3. And therefore, I think Leicester, even with those points deductions coming off, they've still got a really good squad. They've brought in a decent manager in Cifuentes that is well respected within the division and knows the division as well. Yes, there's turmoil, but I think so much noises around them has been put people off backing them that I think they've now become value in that market, not necessarily the promotion market, but in that market, plus 1,200, say on each way terms. I think that suddenly becomes an interesting one. For the promotion one, I'd probably put up a dark horse. And a dark horse I do like is Millwall. What are the odds on promotion there for Millwall? You've got them right down there at plus 1,000.
10 to 1.
Yeah, I think that I don't quite get why the likes of Watford, Bristol City, or Wrexham are above them in the market. They're really consistent, a really strong side. Yeah, you've also got Alex Neil in charge there. He's been there and he's done it. He was at Norwich back in 2015 and led them to the playoff final and won promotion that season. He did exactly the same thing with Sunderland in 2022 in League One, and they'd been out of the Championship for 4 years at that point. So he went there and got the job done. And when he took over at Millwall in December, he's won the 5th most points in the league across all the opposition over that period of time. They've got a really decent squad. They've added to it well. Joseph Taganga at the back is crucial if they can keep hold of him. They've also got the lad up front, Ivanovic, who is a goal scorer. He will get them plenty of goals. And I think they're going to be a real tough nut to crack. And I think they're going to be in and around that spot. So I'd go for them as an outsider because if they get into the playoffs, they've got a fair chance at a big price. So that would be my kind of real outside punt at that point.
Yeah, an outsider for me would maybe be Derby County, not necessarily for promotion, but I think they could be solid. I like the manager. He knows that he can beat big teams as well. Really good against the big teams. So I'll be looking at them. There's some teams I am not really that impressed with, and Sheffield United for me would be one of them. I'm surprised they're short in the betting. I was never his biggest fan, Chris Wilder, but I think it was a stupid decision to sack him because he just knew everything about that club. And you're right, someone like Bristol City, Wrexham probably shouldn't be shorter than teams like Millwall in the market. Wrexham, we've got to talk about them, second most backed in terms of the tickets. And, someone commented here, Tristan thinks that people have been watching too much Netflix back in Wrexham. How are Wrexham going to get on? Because there's so, obviously, I think they're a bigger story than anyone else in the league.
Yeah. For me, National League, so non-league, fifth tier of UK soccer, they were financially so clear of anyone else. They could flex their muscles. They were signing strikers from League One, so effectively the third tier. So they dropped down 2 tiers to then help them, and getting those players, they basically dominated that. They won that. They went into League Two. Did much the same there. There was a couple of sides that were kind of closer-ish to them, but again, they were still head and shoulders above the majority, and that was pretty much a given that they were going to get promoted out of that division as well. Last season, they met their match in Birmingham. Birmingham had by far and away the stronger financial power than them, but even so, Wrexham was still in the top 2 or 3 when it came down to financial muscle. And when you're talking at that level of the game, to have that much power is just invaluable. And it would have been a shock, really, if they didn't manage to get themselves up and out. And they're now in the Championship, and that is a big jump from that point to the Championship. As we've talked about, the parachute payment sides have got millions and millions to spend. You've got sides like even my own side have spent a fair chunk of money this summer. It's a real leap up, and I think they aren't going to be able to bully their way into the top 6 this season. They're going to have to do it on merit. Look, they've made some decent signings. Liam O'Brien is a brilliant signing from Nottingham Forest. Was great in Championship for Huddersfield a couple of seasons ago. Made the move to Forest, didn't work out for him. He's been on loan all over the place since then. Come back with Swansea last season, was sensational. So he's a great asset in the middle of the park. Josh Windass can be a match winner on his day, but anonymous on others. They've got a lot of forward firepower, so expect him to score goals. But at the other end, they look a little bit short. And also in a manager, I did something for the newsletter this week, or the Insider this week, and I can't remember exact figures, but it's something like Parkinson has won only like 28 games out of 141 in Championship level. So he's got a terrible record in the second tier. Yes, he's probably got a better, stronger squad to play with this time around, but he's still been at some decent sides, and he's always fallen short. So the question mark's on him, and if he doesn't start well, doesn't start quickly, I'm sure they'll pull the trigger and they'll move on to more of a high-profile name and go from there. But that isn't going to guarantee success. So for me, it's a season of consolidation for him. Rob McElhenney said that he doesn't even know the meaning of the word consolidation. I suggest he might need a dictionary come the end of the season, because I think it's exactly what they're going to be getting. They might flirt with the playoffs, but for me, about a 10th place finish would be about right. I've
got him 10th. Yeah, that's where I see him, about that. So at this point in time, I'm not interested in them in the promotion markets, things like that. There's a house special I've got to talk about here. This is just a general house special. Soccer Profit Boost promotion here. Log into your BetRivers app or betrivers.com account each week to receive a Soccer Profit Boost consisting of a live bet profit boost and a parlay profit boost. So you can see the T&Cs on the website for more details there. But watch out for that Soccer Profit Boost. We'll talk about, there's lots of questions coming in. We'll talk about the Sheffield Wednesday game later, S. Don't worry about that. And Lock Yes says, League One value play. Luton are favourites despite losing both their creative players. He doesn't think they're going to go up without reinforcing their attack further. My issue there is I think they will reinforce. I think they've got a bit of money if they need it. The end of this window and in January in general for Luton Town. So right now I kind of get where you're coming from. They are lacking a little bit of creativity. Defence is very good. Yeah, I watched them the other night. They were dreadful. AFC awful Wimbledon. Game, so again, it wasn't a great advert for the EFL coming back. That's for certain. But yeah, look, early days, isn't it? But I think you're right. They do need to get the checkbook out, as we say, before the end of the window. Definitely need. Yeah, they need to reinforce in attacking areas. Okay, tonight's game then. This is Birmingham City against Ipswich Town. Birmingham, the favourites here. The team that's promoted from League One are the favourites against a relegated team, Ipswich Town, plus 185 on Ipswich Town. The ties plus 205, over 2.5 goals. That's plus money as well, plus 118. Both teams score yes. Not a far off evens. We've got obviously goal scorer bets as well there. Ipswich Town at plus 185. I know in general they're a club that don't have great appeal to you, Jack. Personally, that is. But from a pure betting front here, that does stick out as quite an interesting price to say the least. I'm not saying it's the wrong price, but very interesting in terms of the money line here. Are you surprised?
Yeah, I think I am. I think I am surprised by it. One of the key things to do in betting is remove the emotion from it. So it's something I learned at an early age, is or an early time in my betting career is take the emotion out, take your heart out, and think with your head. If you can't do that, you're in a bit of trouble. So I've made a lot of money on fading Norwich over the years. Trust me, when I knew they were at their depth. So that not a problem for me. And here, if I had to pick a winner of this one, I would say Ipswich are absolute value. Like, how often in the years gone by have you seen a side promoted from League One being the favourite, as you say, over a side that have just been relegated from the Premier League? And that shows you the kind of aura around Birmingham at the minute, the confidence around Birmingham at the moment, the money they've got to spend, the record obviously they posted last season. It's going to be absolutely white hot atmosphere at Birmingham. But these are two very, very confident sides and fan bases going head to head, and there'll be a lot on the line. They'll be looking to prove some points here. Birmingham will go, we've just taken the title favourites and we're beating them. What's the rest of you got? And Ipswich will be going much the same. Everyone's been talking about Birmingham. We've gone to their place. The toughest time to go to a newly promoted side is on the first game of the season. The momentum's high. The expectation is high, especially for Birmingham. So if they can go there and post a positive result, that will be a massive boost. So one thing I'd certainly say right here, right now, is that we're not going to get two sides that are kind of scared. You've got two very confident sides being roared on by two very confident sets of supporters looking to go and post a win tonight, which is great for the neutral to watch because it should be an absolute cracker. Feisty, plenty of tackles flying in, white hot atmosphere, as you said, and two sides that be looking to score goals and win the game. So I'm very surprised, actually, that it's kind of more being pitched as possibly a bit of an unders game than an overs, and there's more scope to be had looking at that side of the coin.
Yeah, I mean, I watched a bit of the documentary on Amazon about Birmingham City. Very interesting watch, and I think the one thing I got from that is that they're really ambitious. They're not just going to be trying to scrape 0-0s. They want to make a statement straight off the bat. Yeah. They want to become they've got a bunch of targets. I think obviously the next one is to get promoted to the Premier League. They're one of the favourites to do it this year. They want to become the biggest club, the best club in Birmingham again. So Villa fans, watch out.
Villa fan in particular, watch out. He's talking to you.
Doesn't mean it's going to happen, because sometimes, look, they got relegated this lot as well. Some of the decisions they make. Just briefly before we talk about the rest of the game, Birmingham, one of the favourites for promotion. Would you be having that? What about the manager? I know going to last season there was a lot of doubts about him. He did really well, but there's immense pressure here. You're not just coming up trying to survive like most clubs are. You're coming up trying to go up again. That's a lot of pressure on him.
Absolutely right. So my take on it is that, say, last season they recruited a mid-table championship side. They were competing in League One. They did exceptionally well. You can't take that away from them. And say, as a brand new head coach at senior level going into that club with the expectation high, he dealt with it well, but he could steamroll over these League One sides that were just a million miles away from what Birmingham was set up as. And look, a relegated side is normally strong anyway, let alone one that has kind of got bankrolled the way they are. They're spending $15 million, $20 million on a striker. That's absolutely unheard of at that level. So it's rare even at championship level. So look, they already had the foundations there. So they're going to go in with that expectation. They're at least a mid-table, then add to it. I got pelters from Birmingham fans, absolute pelters. I've been called all the names under the sun because I said they're going to be pushing for the playoffs. And they were telling me that I was an absolute moron. Now, they might be right on that one, but the fact is they were saying that, no, we're going to get in the playoffs easily. We're pushing for the title. That's what we're doing. So that's where the confidence level's at. And as you say, their expectation then on a manager that has not been at that level before, against some real stiff competition. They're talking as if like they're going to roll into the championship and there's not decent sides in there. Those three that have come down are proven sides at this level. You've got other sides that have still got parachute payments that have got money. some decent players, spending big money as well, some consistent sides, tough sides to beat. It's not going to be easy. I think they'll do it, but I don't think they're going to absolutely go and steamroll it. And again, I'll hold my hands up if I'm wrong and they do that. Absolute fair play to them, and good luck to them. But no, I think it's not going to be quite as simple as they think it is. And say, like with Wrexham, they were able to bully their way out of last season, out of League One last season. Massive points total, but this season, big test and a big test. This is a big test, both of these sides tonight, which makes it the really exciting thing about it.
Yeah, they. I mean, I've got them third, but I feel like I'm being a bit optimistic there, and I'm kind of banking on them spending again in January. But I don't have them. For me, Ipswich, Southampton will be the top two, and Leicester, like you say, in terms of actual raw quality, should be very much on par. It's just the deductions we're worried about with Leicester. So I can certainly get why people are betting them to win the league on an each way term. Promotion, I think that's the bet I would prefer if I'm betting Birmingham, promotion rather than winning the league, because I could see them winning the playoffs, getting momentum towards the end of the season. But
the one thing you'd say about them is that come January, if they win with a chance, you know that they're going to throw an awful lot of money at it. So that's what you kind of want, I suppose. If you want a side that you've got there or thereabouts, if they're like 7th, 8th, they're going to be bankrolling getting into the playoffs and looking to a late charge for the automatics. If they're in and around that automatic place, they're going to bankroll looking to get the title and top two. The Villa fan has said there about some recency bias. Yeah, I think when you look at a side that smashed it out of the park last season, 111 points, over 100 goals, you've got to go, wow, they've got a real good chance. But I've not been massive. Like, some of the signings they've made have been like really blown up as being exceptional. The likes of Damari Gray, he's been in Saudi for a few years. I'm not sure he's going to come back and set the championship alight. It's a different league from what he left behind a few years ago. They brought players in from again who have performed well, like Celtic. Well, we've seen quite average players go there and still perform relatively well. So I don't think it's a given that they've been exceptional. And they're talking about being exceptional. I think they've done well. I think they're very good. They're extremely well set up, and they've got the foundations to go and kick on. I want to see them, against these sides, and there's no better test initially than this Ipswich side first up. So we're going to get a real decent read as to where they are. If they win this and they win it well, their confidence is going to go absolutely through the roof, and the money will come for them big style as well. So if you think they're going to do the business tonight, you might want to get on the outright to that price now. If you think Ipswich is going to win that, then that money's going to go for them. So it's an interesting one, because this will have a knock-on effect as far as the title race, even if it's really, really early stage.
Well, with that in mind then, Jack, best bet for this match today, what are you going to go with?
Outcome-wise, this isn't my best bet, but my lean, and someone else has already mentioned it, I'm with them on a tie for this one. I've got a funny feeling for a 1-1 or a 2-2, which then leads me on to my best bet, which is for both teams to score. I think two sides that are going to go absolutely at it, looking to put a statement out there, looking to score goals, and I'm not massively convinced with either of them at the back. So yeah, for me, both teams to score is the best bet in the match. I wouldn't put anyone off the overs either. I think there's a potential for it to really kind of spark. And I say, if I'm gonna go with it, I probably would go with a tie.
I like both teams to score. Yes, as well here, -180. I mean, the last time that Ipswich were in the Championship, their matches were wild. I've known better than anyone. I watched most of them, keeping a close eye on them as a Leeds fan. Lots of overs, lots of goals. Not that many clean sheets, though, either. They've had a year in the Premier League where the defence did let them down, I think. Both teams come at hard each other here. I want to get that 1-1 tie in my pocket just in case, rather than take the over 2.5. So I like the BTTS yes as well. Would there be any props that would be possible here? Jay Stansfield's going to be a popular bet, isn't he? Plus 200. A lot think that he could be, borderline Premier League level player.
Yeah, penalty king. I think it was 9 goals from open play last season in that League One side that did so well. $15 million, $20 million was the reported figures around that. So I'd possibly look elsewhere. But I say he's on penalties. You're likely to be on penalties, so that always gives you a chance. Kyogo has been the one that they've obviously been talking up massively, but a player that's really impressed me in pre-season and looks in great shape and is been effectively an identikit for Liam Delap last season. I'd be looking at George Hurst on that side of it for Ipswich. I think he's a real threat in that forward area. Size, bit of pace, and son of David Hurst, Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah, I think I remember him. Maybe.
All
Not
right,
sure.
okay, easy.
Maybe.
Let's move on.
Not entirely sure. But, okay, I've not actually got a graphic for these. I forgot to ask producer John for these earlier, but we've got some bets for the weekend as well. We'll talk about the relegation market and some of the questions after this. But I want to get through these match bets for the weekend. Let's start with Coventry City against Hull. I really like the home team here. I know you do as well. Well, to score
Me too.
both of these.
Yeah, me too. I was looking at the prices. Minus 150 for Coventry last time I looked. Would be a bit too skinny for me on that. Hull have got a puncher's chance, in my opinion, but they look a little bit undercooked. They've obviously had a transfer embargo and bits and pieces, turmoil behind the scenes, which is never good. They're kind of coming into the campaign in a little bit of a mess. They've got 2 or 3 decent. Picked up Ollie McBurney, our good friend Ollie McBurney, gone to Hull. So swapped Las Palmas for Hull.
Why would you do such a thing? Why would you go from Gran Canaria to Hull? Like, honestly, anyway.
Answers in the comments, please, everybody. But yeah, what I've gone here is some real nice signings by Coventry. They've tended to start season slow, so they'll look to get off to a better start this time round. A big signing for them I love. Kane Kesler-Hayden is a great right-sided defender, bombing up and down that side. But some great strikers. So instead of going for the Coventry win or on the handicap, I've gone for them to score over 1.5 goals in that one. 15 home games in the regular season under Frank Lampard last season. They scored 2 or more in 9 of those, including a 2-1 win over Hull.
A big game over the weekend. Southampton host Wrexham. Going to be lots of eyes on this game here. Will Steele's debut, Wrexham's debut back in the Championship. What's the bet here, Jack?
Lots going on. I've gone for goals in this one, over 2.5 goals. I think Wrexham, again, are another side that have gone big with, as I said to you earlier on, as far as going for those forward-thinking players. I think they're a little bit susceptible at the back, and I think Southampton have kept enough decent talent. And with Will Steele in charge, I think that they will be able to score the goals. They might even cover this on their own. But I think Wrexham have got a chance of scoring. So I've gone for over 2.5 goals at minus 114 in this one. Again, this is another big test for both these sides. You know, Wrexham, let's see what you got.
You got a plus money play for us in West London, sorry. QPR against Preston North End. You gone on the money line here?
I have, yeah. QPR straight up plus 120. I think, again, another side that looked to get off to a good start. Kwame Poku, they've signed, who I think is a really good, exciting talent at this level. Preston, absolutely horrific end to last season. We're talking about the futures in a little while, so I'll leave that for then. I just think that QPR, I'd be quite keen on, from what I can see, and you're going to know him better than me, Julian Stéphan is their new manager, isn't it, at QPR? You'll know him better from his time in France. And from my research, he generally tends to get off to a quick start. So I was kind of interested with the fixtures coming out, who they were going to get first up. This is perfect for me. So at plus 120, I am very surprised that they are that price. So I'm taking it straight on the money line.
Real Brendan King's made me smile with that comment about Hull. He's probably got better pies. I reckon the fish is probably better in Gran Canaria. Don't know about fish and chips, but certainly the fish.
In Gran Canaria, you can get a chippy somewhere, surely.
He did all right in Las Palmas last year, to be fair to him. He did get relegated, but does have a knack of getting relegated, actually, doesn't he? But it could happen again. I think Hull are a candidate to go down this season. Where was I? Julian Stéphan. Yeah, and normally, whenever he's come into a club, he's sort of come mid-season as a firefighter, and he puts out the fires very, very quickly. He does he's an impact manager. You know, it's there's an alarm going off outside my house. I don't really know what's happening there. Anyway, I think he could come in. It's the first time he's had a whole summer at a new club to start off with. So let's see how he gets on in that particular role. But, I mean, I do quite like that bet as well. First match of the season. I think it's actually my car.
Is it?
Yeah.
Do you want to go and check on that?
No. It's the wife has just come back, and I don't really know what happened there. It normally it's a sensor alarm, I do believe.
Yeah, this is thinking of an insurance job.
Someone better not have hit it. Anyway, okay. Stoke City against Derby County. Take us away on this one.
If they have it, I better find her a winner or two, hadn't I? So let's have a look. Well, we're Stoke now. Oh yeah, Derby. So I'm with you on this one. I like Derby this season. I think they've recruited incredibly well, and in John Eustace, I think they got one of the best managers in the Championship. So he turned it around when he went there last season. I think they're going to kick on. Mark Robbins is another one who's known for a slow starter. So I can see a similar scenario there. Only 6 wins in his 21 league games in charge since taking over at Stoke. Average about 1.2 points per game, which ain't good enough. Derby, some really good recruitment for them. Bobby Clark, they've got from Salzburg. He went there for £10 million last summer. So, they've got him in on a loan. Patrick Aguiman as well. So that's an interesting one. See how he performs. And some solid kind of experienced Championship pros there. So I like the fact that we can take Derby here on a plus handicap, 0.25 handicap at -118. So if they avoid defeat, we bank some profit. Obviously, a win gets us a full return. But at -118 to avoid defeat, I'm having that all day long.
Yeah, do you know what? Someone's actually just laughed there. Is that the 0-0 detector? I think the 0-0 detector could be out for this game. It certainly doesn't scream of a very entertaining match. But I tell you what, that 1-0 Derby win. Watch out for that all season, by the way. 1-0 Derby. Yep. How many are they going to have? I reckon at least 6 or 7 1-0 wins for Derby this season. Stoke, one of these days, I think Stoke will go down the trapdoor. They just seem to tread water pretty well. I say comfortably. Last season, it got sweaty, didn't it? There's just kind of become a bit of a nothing club. Got a couple of player props as well for the weekend, Jack. I'm going to talk about them in a minute. But I'm going to go back through some comments because there was some interesting stuff. Right. So Philly guy was asking, what do we think about Watford as a relegation shot? We'll come to the relegation market in a minute. The Sheffield Wednesday game, Leicester Sheffield Wednesday. We've got to talk about that because how long have we got? Sheffield Wednesday are in a huge mess. I actually like the goals in this match. I think Leicester could beat them quite comfortably, but I think Sheffield Wednesday, if they could just score a goal or two, the fans would be very, very happy. But they've had one pre-season friendly. One. They're -286 to get relegated. This is a club that could go out of business potentially at some point this year. It's a sad state of affairs. How do you see this match going against Leicester? Leicester about -$7, I think, to win.
Ridiculous. So ridiculous price. I wouldn't want to fade at Leicester at any price, would you? If you had to take someone's bet, I wouldn't want to be taking them. I couldn't quote them short enough, to be fair. So the reasons, someone's just said, that those prices, Steve's absolutely said it. They're completely destroyed that football club. The manager wanted out, then couldn't find anywhere to go, so came back, and now he's gone again. They've got someone in just so they can go through their fixtures. The supporters want to protest and get games called off. They've lost key players because they can't pay their wages. It is an absolute shambles, and as you say, they've got no prep for this game whatsoever. Up against the side that was in the Premier League last season and won the league last time they were at this level. So they're the reasons why that price is so big. I couldn't be taking Sheffield Wednesday on a +2, 3, or 4 handicap, to be honest with you. They might cover it, but I can't have any faith whatsoever that they don't get absolutely destroyed by Leicester here.
I agree. I think there's a chance this could be a big beating if things go really wrong, especially second half, because second half, I think that's when the fitness side comes into effect. You can't, this has never really happened, one pre-season friendly. Most sides will have at least 4 or 5 in the bank and other stuff. Lockie S made a very good point about they might play a few kids, that the lineup is not going to be particularly good. Just a quick question from Lewis Roberts. Is Connor Chaplin going to get decent minutes today, do you think, for Ipswich?
I saw that come. Yeah, I saw that come through, and I'll be honest, I haven't got that information to pass on. So I was going to try and research it while we were on air, but I'll put a comment in after we finished. I'll put it in the comments on the YouTube channel. So check back on that.
Meninda has an interesting question about Norwich. Jack, do you think Norwich will keep Sargent? Thoughts on him for the top scorer? Not many clubs with a clear first choice 9 on penalties. You do have a player prop in the Norwich game this weekend. Norwich against
Yeah.
Millwall. So let's discuss Sargent and this player prop as well.
Sargent's the best number 9 in the Championship. I think that's pretty much universally accepted. Shocked that he's still here at this moment in time, to be brutally honest. Wolfsburg were offering somewhere in the region of $20 million for him. And he basically said that he didn't want to return to Bundesliga. Possibly if Bayern Munich or someone like that come in for him, he might be convinced. But for Wolfsburg, he didn't want to. He seems pretty settled. He seems pretty happy at Norwich. I'm sure he'd be open to a move if the right move came along. I think he wants to stay in England. He obviously wants to try and get his place back in the United States national team. The rumor is that Pochettino has said that he needs to be playing at a top level, but equally, if he goes and keeps fit, which is a crucial thing for him because he's had serious injuries the last 2 seasons, if he keeps fit, he'll score 20 goals at this level if he's playing all season easily, and he could well have racked up a good few in the first half of the campaign. So absolutely, I think he fits well into this system. The one concern is that Liam Manning doesn't have the best record as far as the central striker is concerned. But I think Sargent's a different case at this level, and they've also brought in some very nice creative players around him. Diallo on the left-hand side. Cernats is going to be good. They're playing a box midfield, so we've got 2 10s in behind him. Mankwa Forson will be looking to feed him. The link-up play between Cernats, Forson and him in the pre-season friendlies has been very good, especially the last one at home. Someone asked about that being a default bet for Sargent to score at home again. Yeah, Norwich are a strong side at home. Liam Manning's home record at Bristol City last season was phenomenal. I think that's how he wants to set things up. His talk is that he wants to build a fortress, and Sargent is the key part of that. 2 clubs linked with him in the Premier League were Leeds and Burnley. No real surprises there. Burnley have made a move for someone else. I don't think Leeds are interested at this point in time, whether they're waiting for later in the window to lowball it, maybe. But my general conception is that I don't think that Norwich would accept. He's got a 3-year contract, so I don't think they'd accept a lowball bid, and I don't think he's the type of player to kick up a fuss either. And again, I might be shown to be proven wrong on that one, but I don't think he is. And he does seem very happy in any of the footage that I've seen, and from the bits that I know who people are connected to him on a more regular basis have said that he does absolutely come across that way. So unless a bid of $20 million or better comes in, then I don't think he's moving. And I think that they might well be looking to say to him, look, give us until January, see where we're at, and we'll take it from there. And I think if we're out of the race or looking pretty average, then he might well go in January. But you say he's got 3 years on his contract, so there's no rush to sell him. And the Atanasio, who are owners of the Milwaukee Brewers over there in the States, who are now the owners of Norwich, have said that they don't need to sell anyone. But obviously, if the right offer comes in, then they'll take it.
Yeah, Norwich have certainly spent a bit this summer. First game looks tricky though. Norwich Millwall. This plus money play that you've got on a prop market here, Jack. Talk us through it.
Yeah, I think this is a very tight one. Obviously, I've talked both Millwall up, so they haven't won it at Norwich since 1968, I think it is. So they've not got the greatest record in Norfolk. So my gut here is on a tie for that one as an outcome is concerned. But Femi Aziz is the player I've gone for, a player prop to have over 1.5 shots, not on target. 1.5 shots could go anywhere. He ended the season. He had an injury, came back, and he featured in the last 5 games for Millwall. He had 2 shots, and then he ended the season by having 5 shots in each of his last 3 games. One of those games was against Norwich as well, and the first of those 3, in fact, will be at Millwall. Really good player, gets in those forward areas. I've seen Norwich defend, and they have tightened up big style defensively with the additions that they made, but they still allow shots, but just seem to kind of defend it better. So Femi Aziz for me, over 1.5 shots. I wouldn't even put anyone off getting the ladder out for that one as well, because as you can see with those numbers, he could go off.
A ladder early doors on the opening day.
It's a brand new one as well, fresh out of the pack.
Ray Burke, welcoming. Never need to apologise for being late. One of the biggest followers.
Better late than never.
Well, yes, there is that as well. There's been lots of great comments. I've been reading them, actually. Loads of great comments. I may not get through all of them, but thanks so much for everyone's thoughts here.
There's a point at the bottom there, by the way. Someone's just said about Kvis Gordon has come in as a replacement for Sargent. Possibly so. But they said they were getting him in regardless of whether Sargent was staying or going. That's the official line. And Norwich are playing, as I said, this box midfield, which would mean they're having 2 10s behind. Chris Gordon's only played 20 minutes in pre-season as well. So the fact that they've absolutely eased him in would suggest to me that they think probably Sargent might be staying at least for another couple of weeks. So they've not rushed him in at all. He was obviously with Denmark under 21s during the off season in the European tournament there. And so I think he's been brought in possibly to play behind a striker because Cernats is looking to go in that position as well. Or, as I say, as possibly a replacement a little bit further down the line. So it might be, but it's not an absolute given. And as I say, I think it's a very interesting piece of recruitment. But so the Atanasio team have said that Chris Gordon was one on the radar. They wanted to get in regardless of whether Sargent stayed or go. He was probably more of a using the Borja Science money that we got there than potentially the Sargent one. But yeah, we'll see how that one unfolds. But I think we've got a little bit of time left.
Look at you sounding all Scandinavian, loving the pronunciations there, Jack. Chris Gordon, of course, has come in from Brøndby in Denmark. 5 years he spent there, 37 goals and 102 appearances. Jan Philip, any more picks for today? I do have something in the Eredivisie game, Jan, which you might have some thoughts on that. Go ahead, Eagles, to finish off the show. I've got a few things to say about that one. There was this question about Watford relegation, Championship relegation market here, minus 286, Sheffield Wednesday. For me, that's the first problem. They just look, unless an investor comes in very, very quickly and they spent money in January, I think they look very likely to go down. So that's one of the 3 spots kind of covered, which means there's only 2 more left, and some of the odds are not overly appealing in this market. Watford, they're plus 650 for Watford. I mean, there's so many teams here priced at plus 700 or less. It's kind of ridiculous, actually.
Yeah, it's tight down now. I think everyone's written Sheffield Wednesday off. I think it's a given that they've gone already before we've even started, which is a bit of a shocking state of affairs, isn't it? But sums it up. Watford are an interesting one. I think they've made a decent recruitment as far as the manager's concerned. They've got a few decent players. I think they might well have enough about them to stay up. So you're fighting for 2 places there. You've already mentioned Hull. Again, when you look at sides to go down, picking sides that are in absolute disarray and turmoil off the field is normally a good starting point. So you can put Hull in that bracket. We'll have to see how that one pans out. I don't think QPR are going down. They were quite a very short price for me. I'm not too certain about that. Blackburn either seem to finish 7th or 17th. So we'll see what variation we get of Blackburn from Valérien Ismaël this time round. Derby, absolutely no chance at all. But I've skirted over a side there that I think are in trouble, and that is Preston North End, plus 450 are my kind of outside tip for relegation. Ended the season absolutely horrifically last time round. And the quote that sort of stunned me really was Paul Heckingbottom said that things need to change or be changed. And he said, that's it. Right now, I'd throw a bomb under the lot and start again. And he said that in April when they still had a couple of games to go. And lo and behold, they didn't win them. So he's still there, obviously. It looks an absolute disaster. They won one of their last 15 league games, and they took 3 points from their final 8 fixtures in the Championship last season. They are blunt in attack. They've not really added to that. They've changed things a little bit at the back. So defensively might be tighter. That didn't really seem to be a massive problem anyway. But I just think that if the manager is saying that at the end of last season and not too much has changed by ways of incomings, you're probably in the same situation. So that doesn't look like a recipe for success to me. So at plus 450, I'm happy to take them as my kind of outsider for a relegation spot.
I mean, this sounds like a revolving record, because wasn't he the same when he was at Sheffield United? Paul Heckingbottom tends to be a sort of manager, doesn't mince his words. He tells it how it is. He's pretty honest and blunt, which, fair play in some respects, but negativity can build up very, very quickly with him at the helm. Lockyer says Hull are underpriced for relegation. He reckons they made some signings despite the embargo. For me, Hull are going to be in the mix. There's going to be a lot of teams in the mix, it must be said. They finished last season pretty badly, only just survived. by the skin of their teeth. Doesn't mean they're going to be, starting bad this year.
No. They brought in Lundstrom, didn't they? They brought in Lundstrom, who was at Sheffield United and at Rangers, and was he been in Turkey is where they got him from. So they managed to get him through the door. We already talked about McBurney. So they've got enough that for me, if I had to put my money on it, I'd probably say they might well bob just above that line. And a couple of others go down. I think Oxford will be all right because they've got Gary Rowett, a really, really good manager, and made a couple of decent signings as well. So Charlton have got Nathan Jones. I think
I back Jack, right? And I back them every year to go down, right? One of these years I'm going to get paid out. I know I am. It is Blackburn Rovers.
Yeah.
Right? And it's simply the owners.
Yeah.
I don't like how they run the club, right?
How many years now?
I've often questioned some of their managers, and I can guarantee you the year I didn't back them, they'll go down. So I have to keep backing Blackburn to go down every year. Managed to get on, I think, at 6.5 to 1 a few weeks ago, but
wildly inconsistent. I'm going to quickly make a point. Lock yes said Harry Darlin should be a great signing for Norwich. I'm going to go back about Norwich again, aren't I? But threat at set pieces and their defence needed better players. 100%. Not only Darlin, they've also brought a player in alongside him who looks an absolute machine. Madic, they signed from Ajax. He was on loan at Bochum last season, Dan Roebuck's favourite team. And he got that goal of the season. There probably weren't that many to choose from, but he scored a worldie against Bayern Munich on debut. And this guy is a threat from set pieces, 6'3", 6'4", and he also likes to have a shot from range. And how Norwich are playing, you should see him fairly advanced. So both those two are big. And they've also just brought in a guy called Topic as well, Serbian. They've brought in from Portugal, Famalicão, I think it was. So they've really looked to strengthen that midfield defensive area and the central defensive area, which was absolutely horrifically bad last season. So you should see an improvement there. Less goals scored, less goals conceded. So yeah, good point on Harry Darlin. But also look out for these, mate. I did actually note him down. Madic to have a shot is plus 190. So that would be another prop in that Norwich game.
I mentioned this Eredivisie does start this evening from the Netherlands. First match, Fortuna Sittard against Go Ahead Eagles. I do kind of follow this league on and off. And what struck me about this one, Go Ahead Eagles, of course, had a brilliant season last time, won the Dutch Cup. Their manager, Paul Simonis, who is pretty highly regarded, has moved on to Wolfsburg. I think Wolfsburg are a team to watch out for in Germany. A really good manager. And it always concerns me when you lose someone at the helm that good. So I was a little bit surprised to see them at plus 138 here against Sittard away. Just 10 points was between the two teams in the league last season, which sounds a lot, but it's not a humongous number. When you just lost your manager, Fortuna Sittard, I can't claim to be, an in-depth analysis about them isn't that great, but plus 188 here on the opening night, home match against a team that have kind of overachieved last season to a degree. Might be a little bit flat, lost their manager. I'd be leaning towards the home side. I had a good look at the game simply because there wasn't many other matches on today across the board. You can watch notable live streams today, though. You can watch this one on the BetRivers app. Several club friendlies as well. FC Copenhagen against Aarhus in the Danish Superliga. There is also another match on there. I think Viborg against Sonderskiske is on. Yes, you can watch that one live too. One more bet before we close the show, Jack. It's another prop bet for you on in the Championship this weekend. And you are going into West Brom against Blackburn Rovers for this one.
I am. Yeah. And apologies for laughing at the start of that piece that you then did there, because I was just reading Jan Philippe's very concise critique of Madic. And I'll leave everyone to read exactly what he thinks of him. It's not very positive, by the way. The bet here is for Yuki Ahashi of Blackburn. I wouldn't put anyone off for him to score at any time at plus 380. They're up against West Brom here. West Brom obviously got Ryan Mason in charge. This is his first ever foray into, permanent anyway. He's been a kind of interim manager at Spurs a couple of times, but it's his first permanent full-time gig. So it'll be interesting to see what he brings to the table. So we're a bit step into the unknown a little bit here. But Hashi's just got a really, really good record. Scored 10 goals for Blackburn last season in a side that didn't really score loads and loads of goals. But I've gone into his the prop markets here for him to have over 1.5 shots at minus 109. He returned from injury on March the 1st for Blackburn, and was a sub that day, but then started 9 of the remaining fixtures of that season, last season, and he had 2 or more shots in 8 of those 9. He's their main man. I really like him as a player, live wire, and so I think for him to have over 1.5 shots at minus 109 looks a really, really good price. He's their main threat.
Jan Phillips says Fortuna are a weird team. He thinks Go Ahead Eagles are a lock here on the draw no bet. Interesting thoughts. I know the new manager, they brought him from Dordrecht in the second tier, and Dirk Kuyt has gone to manage Dordrecht in the second tier now, actually. Yeah, so listen, maybe I've perhaps underestimated this new manager, but when you've just won a cup and you've lost someone to the Bundesliga, for me, that just would send automatic little alarm bells at the very least. But interesting. Well, I'm going to watch that game and see how it goes. But I thought that'd be a pick'em game across the board, sort of a draw no bet on both, the same odds. What's your best bet from today or Championship at the weekend, Jack?
Well, I'll go with both teams to score tonight. Let's get that one. That's my best bet of the day. So we'll take that.
Yeah, that was going to be mine as well. So yeah, I think it's a great bet. I think it's a great bet. Really do.
Yeah.
Get that 1-1 on your pocket if you need to.
Yeah.
Okay, that is it. Had over an hour here. Going in the future, Thursday and Friday, we are going to be releasing the Premier League show every single Thursday at midday Eastern time, and the Betting Weekly Extra Time show will be released at midday on Friday every week. So a set schedule for both of those. The live show apparently can't go beyond an hour now on those days, so I'd be in trouble, wouldn't I, if there was a release today? But you can look out for the pre-season future.
We've made the most while we can, Steve. We need
know.
to get this one out. We made the most while we can.
Yeah, it'd be one of those. If we're running close on one of those nights, it'll be like the word has come in my ear that we've got to get off air, and so on and so forth. But yeah, great show, loads of discussion. Thanks everyone who joined in, live or on demand. Really appreciate your support. Remember to sign up to that newsletter, the Betting Weekly Insider, and do hit that like button. It's really appreciated on the show, and do subscribe if you've not already. What are you waiting for? But have a great weekend, Jack. There's loads. I say, watch out for the 2 shows coming out tonight. Also, Fight Live is going to be on with Paul and Kyle, of course. And we've got Betting Weekly Hardball and the Fast Break show coming up later. Doug Kaziri, I think Sarah is on as well later today. Incredible. The action doesn't stop on this channel.
It's incredible, and there's more to come. I've had to look up my sleeve. There is more to come. I've heard. Exciting times.
Absolutely. Really is. Best of luck, everyone, whatever you are taking today across the weekend. And Jack, really enjoyed it as ever. We'll see you all next week on Betting Weekly Live. Remember to gamble responsibly. But take care and have a real blast this weekend. See you, Jack.
Thanks, everyone. See you all.